Now, I don't know what he intended when he commented on the size and the beauty of the temple, but the answer that Jesus gave the disciple, those huge stones, they're going to be thrown down. I'll bet that is not what the disciple expected, and I bet it was a real jaw-dropper for him. So, 4 of the disciples do what many of us might do. They meet with Jesus in private and ask, now just when is this catastrophe going to happen? And Jesus answers them. But instead of pinpointing a time, he tells them to forget the old ways of power. You know, those ways of violence, cruelty, and hate. Because there will be leaders, he says, many leaders who come in my name, saying they are my followers. And watch out for them, because they're going to talk the talk, but not walk the way of God, our God of love. And they will lead you back to the old way of power. Next, Jesus says, don't worry so much about what is going to happen. Instead, guys, understand it as the beginnings of birth pangs. Now that is an interesting choice of words, birth pangs. But then, when you really begin to think about it, birth pangs bring not only pain, but also change. And those changes, in turn, bring choices. And choices can transform us, leading us away from our old ways. You know, those ways that bring destruction, not just to us humans, but to all of God's creatures and all of God's creation. I believe that Jesus is telling us to look toward choices that are about love, not hate, about compassion, not indifference. So, when Jesus told us earlier in the book of Mark that his followers of the way are the light of the world and not the darkness, I believe Jesus is talking about making choices that mirror the power of God's love. God's love for all creatures and all creation. And Jesus says, when we make choices to help the weak and the poor, rather than exploiting them, we are light and we are hope. And when we break down those walls that divide and separate us, and when we resist the lure of quick fixes or of scapegoats, again, we are the light and we are the hope. And when we seek good for others, not just ourselves, and when we help enemies to be friends, again, we are light and hope. Light and hope that seeks to serve and help others. Last week, Father Tom reminded us that we never serve one another alone. Not only is God with us, we also serve in community. And tomorrow, in our church community, we will pack up and deliver 25 boxes of food. And 25 of our neighbors in this Bellevue area will enjoy a Thanksgiving meal. But sometimes community is not always what we expect it to be. And sometimes it's even greater than just us. Here's an example of one of the communities that we are involved in. A couple of years ago, our church community made a choice to serve with another community, the Bellevue Together community. And the focus, as you know, was and still is on Bellevue school children who are in need or at risk. And when we joined the community, this Bellevue Together community was still pretty small. it was, just beginning, and it was kind of in those throes of birth pangs, if you will. And they and we did not know if together we could make a real difference. If we could truly be the hands of hope that reach out and help up. But with faith and prayers, we looked forward, not backward to the old ways. And together, we made choices. We made choices to help the weak and the poor, rather than blame them, and to seek good in all of our neighbors. And Bellevue Together has grown. Started out with a small community, just a handful of businesses, churches, and individuals. And now it has grown to a community of 38 businesses, 13 churches, and countless individuals all working together to help Bellevue school children who are at need or at risk. And what have we accomplished working together? Well, one of the things we have done working through this community is we have helped those children on that most important day of school, the one that is often the most intimidating, that first day of school when they walk in. And we have helped these children to walk in with new backpacks and new supplies in their backpacks, just like all the other kids. And another thing we've done, just like last year, again this year, through the project of Angel Tree, working with Bellevue Together, we will be a part of helping this time close to 400 of these students receive 2 Christmas gifts apiece. That is pretty awesome. But this year, there's an added something special for these children. This year, each child is going to receive something that I take for granted, but they don't. Many of these kids share pillows, or they wad up a coat and use it for a pillow. So this Christmas, working with Bellevue Together, each child will receive a pillow, a brand new pillow that is just for them, and there is going to be a new pillowcase to cover it. So you see, when we make the choices that reflect the love and power of God, we can be light, and we can be hope for our neighbors. And it's never too late. It is never too late to make those choices, because with God and Jesus, it is never too late to rise above the darkness and be the light. Why? Because God, with an open hand, has promised to always walk with us in love and grace and mercy. Thanks be to God. Amen.
Amen.